Isn't this absolutely beautiful? This incredible mullein verbascum thapsus here in the early spring sunshine. And you can see we had rain overnight and it was foggy this morning, and there's little beads of moisture on the leaves, and they're being held by fine little hairs on this leaf. And if we make tea with mullein, sometimes these little fine hairs can get into our tea and they can be aggravating. So we really want to use a fine mesh strainer if we're making mullein tea for ourselves. This plant the leaves in particular, are really indicated for a dry, hacking cough that sounds hollow, where there's not really any material coming up. It can be used acutely and for chronic or long-term issues where there's been a standing sense of a dry, hacking cough. This could come from a smoker's cough, potentially, or a chronic, a sinus. Sometimes it could even be helpful for an acute sinusitis, or if there's like a postnasal drip, potentially. But this is better for a dry situation where we want to bring moisture and secretions to the tissue. So this is interesting because the leaves are mucilaginous. However, the long-lasting effects is that this is a bit drying. And so we're toning the tissue, and if there's edema or excess fluid held in the tissue from the inflammatory process, the mullein will draw it out. However, the mucous membranes get coated and therefore soothed and relaxed. And that's also what happens with the root of this plant. This is a second-year plant. This plant has a 2-year life cycle. And here's a baby, a first-year growth. So we could harvest the roots from either of these plants right now. And this would be really, whoa. Hopefully, I don't know what's happening in the world around me, but surely I hope everyone's okay. I'm sending blessings their way. And so the root can be really supportive for nerve or muscular pain. And in particular, the flowers are used for nerve pain, also for ear inflammation. Historically has been used as ear drops in combination with garlic oil. And I find it to be really lovely, especially for viral ear infections. And what else can I tell you? Oh, yes. This plant has historically been used for setting joints. And I don't have any personal experience with this, but I'd love to hear it if anybody listening has ever used this or is considering using this for setting a joint. I have used this for gout, and also if someone has kind of dry, brittle connective tissue, bringing moisture to the connective tissue. When we want to bring moisture, but we don't want the tissue itself to necessarily be moist. We want to bring lubrication to the area, but we don't necessarily want to have the tissue itself be moist. So this is wild carrot herbs. We're in the backyard here in Portland, Maine. It's a lovely garden, but it's also still in the midst of life happening around. Okay, take care, friends. Bye for now.